Friends.
Philly sports, love and pain. I'm Dave. That's Kenny.
Yo.
And we are going to the motherfucking playoffs.
Super Bowl.
What?
Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Did this team make the
Let
playoffs?
me tell you how this happened. The roots grew and the motherfucking plants sprouted, as my boy Jalen Hurts said.
Yeah. Jellen.
Ja-
Jellen Hurts.
oh, COVID facts.
um, dude, I can't believe it. I'm
after
fucking blown away.
after the Raiders game, I literally sat in the car as I waited for, Chrissy to say goodbye to the family, and I literally said to myself, I'm not a fucking Eagles fan anymore. Here we are. We're back, baby.
It's unbelievable. And I think that a lot of people, first of all, like in the national media, owe like the Eagles a fucking apology.
Joy Taylor
And
apologized today, and Chris Sims.
yeah, no, she did. She owned it. She really did. And honestly, what she said wasn't even like it wasn't like super bad. Like it wasn't, but she was like a did we
Yeah.
really think that this team was a playoff team? Like, come on. No.
Oh,
Get the
I
fuck
knew
out
it,
of here.
especially
Yeah.
after the Raiders game.
Yeah. But I mean, here we are, man. And we're going to the playoffs and we're actually going to have some playoff chatter today, which it's just incredible. It's just incredible. Um
Realistically, though, th- there was like a small glimmer of like expectation of like, hey, the first half of this schedule is going to be very fucking difficult, and it was. I mean,
yep.
I said this a couple weeks ago. I still believe that if we just ran the ball a little bit more, we would have won one or two more games, right? Like I think we would have definitely beat the Niners if we just had a game plan that made sense then. And then, if Jalen Rager catches one of those touchdowns against the Giants, but it doesn't matter, right? Because you would be playing for the division on Saturday,
Yeah, and
which is my
listen.
birthday.
Oh,
The old
happy
32. It's here.
happy Rona birthday.
It might be free. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. You're getting closer to being out of jail, I guess, right?
I should be. I only have one more mass day.
That's nice. That's nice. But like I just it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this team is in the playoffs. It's unbelievable that they righted their ship. And honestly, it's funny. Like when you look at a team and you're like, oh, they look at all their wins. They only beat the teams. They only beat like the bad teams. But like that's a shitty argument, really, when you think about it, because most of the time we're always complaining that they don't beat the teams they should. So this team beat the teams they should, and now they're in the fucking playoffs.
You want to know a fun fact?
Fun facts.
2017, 2018. I don't know if you remember that specific year at all. Nothing important happened
Something
then.
something special might have happened. I don't know.
They beat two teams with a winning record during the season. No one said shit then, right?
Wow, is that true?
That's a true fact, buddy.
Okay, that's I don't know what to say about that. You didn't tell me about this before we came on.
I know. I wanted to put your
Wow.
fucking brain in a blender.
That's impressive. That's impressive. I mean, riding something into the playoffs is absolutely a thing, man. And
100%. And they don't win that Super Bowl unless, you know what I mean? They wrote it.
they
Absolutely.
were riding a wave into that
Yeah.
Super Bowl. And who's to say? Now, I don't think that this feels the same way.
No, no, no. I mean, listen, you have to be optimistically cautious, right? I really do think they can get. I don't even know how it works out, but I think they can win the first round of the playoffs, and then I think they lose that second round. I really do think they can win a playoff game, and we'll obviously talk about each potential matchup. But I don't know. Besides, like, I mean, I don't think anyone's beating the Packers, honestly, and I'm including the AFC in that.
Right. So let's get through this fucking football team game. And I don't know. Washington is brutal. I don't like the team. I think that they suck.
I hate
I
them
think
more
that
than anyone in the NFC East.
I think I do too. I used to think it's funny because like each game comes, I'm like, man, I fucking hate the Giants. And man, I fucking hate Dallas. Man, I
But how
fucking
can
hate.
you like honestly though, realistically, how can you hate the Giants? We have besides that one shitty dud game, we've owned the Giants in the last 20, 25 games. Seriously, that's not an exaggeration.
I know it's not.
They're
And
literally little brother. They're fucking terrible.
right, so like then like
And they're
each
not even in New York. It drives me fucking nuts. Fake ass New York team.
so like each game comes, and I'm like, man, I fucking hate the Giants. And oh man, it's Dallas week. I fucking hate Dallas. And then the football team week comes, and I'm like, man, I fucking hate the Redskins or football team. And I'm like, I think if I had to pick one, I would probably pick the football team because I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about them.
It's
Like they just
because
rub me the
they,
wrong way, man.
they're fucking annoying, and they always somehow derail the Eagles in some way. You know what I mean? They beat them in some kind of fucking corny fashion. You know, their stadium's literally falling apart, and they zip tie it back together. I mean, it's comical what they do over there. I read somewhere they're like Dan Snyder's too busy fucking paying off all the cheerleaders. He can't fix the stadium, which I love personally.
Wow. But yeah, so fuck the football team
Yeah,
and fuck their next name. I don't know if it's Admirals or if it's fucking Red Coat or whatever the hell you said it was. What'd
tails,
you think?
motherfucker.
Red Tails.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there anything funnier than them coming out on Twitter and being like, "Well, we try to go with the Wolves, but there are a lot of
mistaken.
hurdles."
God,
They can't even get that right.
they can't even get a name. But so here's the thing, man. I I said a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned it again last week, but I said that I don't think that it's a big deal that they're not playing good teams going into the playoffs.
I remember that.
I think that I was an idiot for
Yeah.
saying that because because they're they're starting off slow in these games, and it can't they can't do it in the playoffs. Like I know that I don't need to say it, right? But because like obviously, like if you fucking do that, you're dead in the playoffs.
Oh, you're not.
But
You have to be. You can go like a drive or two slow, right? Like a drive or two, maybe. That's not
as long as your
perfect.
defense is playing and like
Yeah.
keeps you like kill you 3-0, whatever. But
A quarter, you can't. You can't.
you
You
can't go a
absolutely can't.
quarter. You absolutely can't go a half.
No. Fuck
And
no.
this team's coming out of the gate slow, and I know they script we talked about this too. I know they script those plays.
Yeah.
So it's concerning to me. I mean, if we're gonna start talking about things that they do, and there's there's two sides of the coin, and I don't know which side of the coin you're on. So now it's week 18, which sounds so fucking weird to say,
I
but
hate it. I
it's week
honestly hate it.
18. It's week 18, and this week doesn't mean anything to the Eagles. Like I know Dallas is still fighting for seed, 2, 3, 4, whatever. It almost ultimately doesn't matter. It matters for them in the long run. So they might actually play, and they might win by 3 touchdowns. It doesn't it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything, which is why it's weird that they flexed it. But there's two sides of the coin. One side of the coin is you're totally cool because they got to the playoffs, and anything that happens now is whatever. It doesn't matter, because they got there and they're going to get that experience in the playoffs. There's that side of the coin. The other side of the coin is, well, you guys have achieved this now. You've shown us that you're worthy and you've won enough games to make the playoffs in the NFL. Now you got to go. Now you got to go show us something in the playoffs, and you got to win a game,
Nah, you
or
gotta be
or
on.
at least compete.
You gotta be on
So
the. You gotta be on the
which
first
coin are
side.
you on? Are you on coin A or coin B?
It's coin A for me. I mean, listen, the worst thing that they can do for me, like where I'll be like upset about it, is to go in and lose 44-6. Something like that insane will like probably piss me off. But if they lose a close game or they lose by a touchdown or two, like I'm not gonna be. I mean, I'll be upset because I obviously want them to make a run, but like
Right.
I won't be. I won't be devastated as I have been or whatever. I don't. I think this was a nice little cherry on top was like making the playoffs. It's great for Hurts. He's going to get playoff experience. It's great for Nick. He's going to get playoff experience. Some of these younger guys definitely need it. Slay's never been in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like all these, or maybe he was in that one year where Matt Stafford broke his hand against the
That's right.
Saints, I think.
I think you might be right.
So, but whatever. Like all these guys are going to get experience that they definitely need.
Right.
So, I think you got to be okay with that. I just don't want to see them get blown the fuck out. You know what I mean? And then everyone be like, "Told you so. They shouldn't have been in there. We're fucking stupid. Jalen Hurts isn't a quarterback." You know that kind of shit again.
Well, I think it's funny because I sometimes like it depends on the day. Like if I think about this, sometimes I'm on side A and sometimes I'm on side B because here's the thing in the NFL, like anybody can win, man. Anybody can fucking win. Like just look at 2017. Like
Yeah.
no one thought that the Eagles going into the playoffs had a chance to win that Super Bowl.
No.
No fucking way. And I'm not even just talking about people in Philly. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah.
Like people weren't giving the Eagles a chance to win that Super Bowl. So once you make the playoffs, anything can fucking happen. So I I need them to compete. I
Yeah.
don't need them. I don't need them to win, and I don't need them to fucking win the Super Bowl. This is a successful season already.
Oh,
They
way above. I mean,
it's
seriously, like,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it is, and I don't even really like throwing that word around because it's like you kind of sound doofy or goofy, but it is an incredible season because they were 4 and whatever the fuck they were last year, and they didn't look good, and they had a bad O line. And I know we dog Howie a lot. I'm going off, but we
It's
dog
okay.
Howie a lot, but he fundamentally well. He just misses the big picture, like the the wide receiver situation for sure. You know what I mean? Or
I
like
think
the
the
Danny
problem,
Watkins.
yeah, like I don't know. I know we haven't really prepared to go down the Howie hole on this
No, no, not
podcast
yet.
today, but
Yeah, no.
I think one of the problems just to glance at the Howie thing is that there are too many big misses.
Yes.
And it's like if you can make the argument that he's a great GM, that he's done a great job with this team, and you can also make the argument that he's swung and missed more times than any other major club. Like you could totally go both ways. You can make both arguments.
No one no one is gonna remember the Rager pick if it wasn't Jefferson after him. Like seriously, I don't think anyone would be as upset if Justin Jefferson wasn't on the board, right? Like
Yeah.
like I don't hear anyone going like, "Oh, wish we would have got Jamar Chase." Like of course I think Jamar Chase is probably better than Smith, of course, right? But
Yeah.
no one's ever gonna gripe about that because we got a really good wide receiver in there. But like once you miss on that Rager pick, and listen, I'm less as the weeks go on, I'm less angry about Rager. I can see some value in what they're trying to do with him. And I was catching up on some of the older podcasts, and I just they tried to force feed him that one week. I guess the Jets, I think it was, where they just were trying to make him relevant wide receiver.
Right.
Yeah, because it was Giants game. He had all them drops. And then Nick came on and was like, "Oh, I gotta get him the ball more. It's my
Yeah.
fault."
Got
And
to
then they
give him
tried
more opportunities.
yeah. Then they tried to force feed him. That's not who he is right now. And
Yeah.
maybe he'll get it. I mean, Nelson Aguilar took a while to fucking stick on, So I think he might figure it out. But if they can figure out how to get him north and south instead of east and west, he is not fucking smart. He just
No.
doesn't go well side to side. So if they can get him full speed ahead going forward, there's value there. And you can wrinkle it in and throw people off guard at least for a play or two. So I never thought I'd say this, but I'm like every week that goes by, I'm like less pissed off about Rager. And hey, Rager made the playoffs before Justin Jefferson. Suck it.
I saw that on Twitter, and hey, it's the truth, man. It doesn't. It's not about one. It's not about one guy, and I hate that. I hate the people that are like, you can't do that. You can't look at the draft that way. Like every pick, you could look at every pick that way. Like yeah, you could, but the when you swing and miss too many times in the first round, you start to get a bad rap.
Yeah.
And that's really it. That's really it. And listen, Howie has done a fantastic job with building this roster every year. I mean, the team has made the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years.
Hmm.
That's incredible in the NFL. It doesn't normally happen. Like so, people I think people are too harsh on Howie. and that is what it is. We're not going down the Halley hole, but my whole thing with this is like you're there now, and anything can happen in the playoffs. I need you to compete.
Yeah.
I need you to not turtle up. I wouldn't go as far as saying the season is a disappointment if they get run out of the building, but it's not going to leave a good taste in people's mouths, especially mine, if they lose that game 38-7.
Do you think it will leave a better taste in your mouth than the fucking Sixers and the Hawks? Because I'm guarantee you it will.
Yes, there's no. I don't think there's
So
right now. That's probably about as bad as it can get.
that's the top 5 loss. I know Joe said that last week, and I've been thinking about that like more and more. Like that
It's
is
really hard. It's
absolutely
really hard, but that is definitely. I'm just like running through like it's
I
hard
think
to
it's
it's hard to
also
go.
fresh.
It's fresh, so it's like, yeah, it's pretty shitty. But no, it would not be anywhere near that for me because that team had expectations. That team had that team had a clear
They could
path.
have won the finals
Right. And this
easily.
team doesn't have that. I mean,
No.
we don't have the first round bye. We don't have
Everything is an extra fucking like cherry on top. Everything moving forward is just it's beautiful bonus play.
yes,
And I
which is why we people in Philly need to chill the fuck out and just enjoy this next couple weeks because it's not very often where
mhm.
we have stress-free fucking football
Well,
for our
and
city. It's not.
we don't even know what the team's gonna look like next week. Like I, I don't even I was thinking to myself like, do I even want to watch the game? And I'll watch it, of course, but like I mean, they might lose by fucking 38. Like seriously, if none of those players can play, I mean, who are they gonna what the fucking Minshew?
I don't know. They're signing dudes off the practice squad to be cornerbacks and shit. Like,
Yeah, I don't like it, but I think the greatest like I know what you're saying, and I hear you about like the blowout because I feel the same way. But my scale goes from like 100% successful to like 92% successful. It's not a big teeter for me.
okay,
The things that we have said or I have said specifically, which was my biggest thing going into this when we were going through the roller coaster. Remember, it's week by week for us. You know what I mean? Like we're not analyzing game tape. This is week by week. And there's just been growth around the board. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like tons of growth, and that's all you can ask for a season where you figured you were going to finish third in the division, not make the playoffs.
so so thinking about the growth and thinking about where we came from and what we specifically wanted to learn about this season, let's talk about it now a little bit because there's a couple things really we needed to know before by the end of this year.
Okay,
We needed to know if Nick Sirianni can hang in the NFL.
check.
I think he's good. I think he's going to hang. Now, is it beginner's luck?
The
Yeah,
Eagles do have success in that. In by the way, in that like first to 2 year
I know.
coaching
I know.
success, they do have that. That's for
I
sure.
know. It makes me nervous because they have so many guys. Like even Ray Rhodes was good.
Yeah, I
Like
read that the
so,
other day.
Chip Kelly. Like a lot of guys come in here and they like, wow. It's like okay, they got some shit going, and then it's like, ooh.
But
So
this is the only coach that I felt like didn't inherit a really great situation, right? Like
you can listen. You can argue. We could argue about how bad the situation really was last year.
I'm
They
not even
had more injuries than fucking any.
a
Like
hundred,
I don't.
and I wasn't even. I'm not even gonna say anything about Wentz. Like I have no like
Yeah.
whatever about Wentz. But the O
Right.
line is a dramatic change for for them and like the way they got those guys playing. I mean, it helps when you can get a fucking center who you've shifted to guard or to I don't even know where he's playing right now. His brain's
I
broken.
think he's still playing guard.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's at guard, so it helps when you get a guy that's probably a first round talent where people are like, well, we don't want to touch this guy because his fucking knees.
Yep.
So that draft pick's huge. I mean, I remember when Brandon Brooks went down, I was like, oh fuck us, you know what I mean?
I
And like
know.
at this point, they don't even like. I am gonna say this, they don't even need him. They really don't.
Well, it would be nice to have him.
Of
I mean,
course, but the
just
guys
think
that are in
about
there
that.
are doing really fucking well.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. Where the fuck was I going? I have COVID brain too still.
You were saying how like he inherited a good
Okay.
situation.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying that.
yeah, a
Yeah, I'm
bad.
just saying that like his situation wasn't as bad as it looked. Okay, with this, there wasn't a four win roster. that was a disaster because of injuries and because of the whole Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz disaster, right?
Yeah.
So whatever. But Sirianni, we can put a checkbox there because we only have 1 year to look at, and this year's been pretty fucking good as far as I'm concerned from a coach's perspective, a head coach anyway.
I mean, even last week, I mean, he had a few like timeout things where I'm trying to figure out what the fuck his thought process was. But those things are minor, and he can clean that up. It's just watching film and being like, oh shit, I shouldn't have taken that time out. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. But like I agree 100%. Like from where I was, like the Nick roller coaster has been like an enjoyable fucking passionate advisor to like this fucking guy. We're done with him. To holy shit. To oh we're a playoff team. And I
It's
went
been
on
a
here.
it's been a fucking ride, man. It's
Yeah, I mean that's the
unbelievable.
beauty of it, right? Like I don't know. Yeah.
So
You look at the teams
so
like the Rams, like I don't think they have a shot at the Super Bowl. They've been good all year, right? So like you look at a team like the Rams, and like if you're a Rams fan, which is like three of them, but if you're a Rams fan, you're like I feel like you have false hope, right? With the Eagles, like we've talked about this, like hey, we're in, so anything fucking happen, and whatever happens is fine.
I really do think that there's something to now. Listen, if you're a fucking fantastic number 1 seed team, that's a different story.
Packers,
Like yeah, like if you're riding high, not have that many injuries, like that they're set up. They're set up pretty good right now. But
100%.
on the other side of that coin, if you're the 7 seed and you're coming in, or the 6 seed, whatever you end up being, and you come in like under the radar a little bit, like you can kind of make some noise, and like that's where they are, and it's pretty cool to be there.
Teams that
Honestly, I
can
like it.
dictate the run, you don't have to worry about like take the Cardinals for example. I don't even know what the number is on that, but like that's another team. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Cardinals are Super Bowl favorites." They are. They look like shit. And guess what? Kyler Murray can't beat the fucking Eagles if he's sitting on the bench because we're fucking running the ball all the time. You know what I mean? So like,
So yeah, so we're gonna talk about that because I really want to hear like what you think of the 4 teams that they could end up playing.
mm,
But so Sirianni, check.
yes,
Hurts,
Jack.
you got to give Hurts a check. There's no doubt. Like
I mean,
this,
I've got to come back on everything I've said. I mean, we were kind of brutal on him, and he does do some dumb shit. Like that Giants game is something that's gonna like be etched in my head for like, a little bit of time here because like that
yeah,
game is just so weird to me. Like watching
scary.
that and just thinking to myself like, who was that Eagles team? Because that team, that was bad. Like that was a bad game.
And I'm trying to think back. Like I feel like was that the game? Was that the game where he may have been injured in that game?
Yeah, I think so. So like I think he had a slow start, sluggish
Yeah.
start, got hurt, and could not get it together.
Well, I've been very critical of Hurts, and I don't know if I'll ever get to the point where I like that style. I just don't. But I think that he's coming along to be more of what I like, and what I like is like the Dak like kind of model, or like the Russell Wilson model,
Like
where you start to like pick dudes apart, and then they back up, and then you're like, oh yeah, fuck you, here's a 20-yard run, and then they suck back up, and then you're like bang bang bang, and then they do it again. Like you can play that game, and I feel like he's really developing as a passer, like before our eyes. Like I
yeah,
think it's
100%,
happening,
100%.
and it's awesome. It's awesome to see because like I'm down with a dude who can pick a defense apart with his arm, and then when they give him the run, he takes that shit. Like
And
I'm down with that.
he's running, and all right, I'm gonna say two things. It'll probably piss some people off, but he's and listen, I'm not comparing him to Michael Vick, and no one will ever be Michael Vick because Vick was that good. But
Yeah, it's
like,
just different.
there's times where I look at Hurts and I'm like, no one else can make that fucking run. That pivot step down into the ground and fucking spin and just get out of the plays. So that's like Vic to me, like in that sense. Again, I'm not saying he's Vic. He'll never be Michael Vick. We'll never see another Michael Vick.
Yeah,
That dude was football to the point, like electric, man.
yeah.
But I see things in Hurts that I'm like, okay, that reminds me a little bit of Vic. And then the other thing too is like if you had Wentz, he Wentz and Hurts are the same quarterback. They're like game managers, but like I think Hurts does a little bit more. And then the other thing is like Hurts is like 10 times faster than Wentz. So like that's going to make all the difference in that sense because Carson Wentz can't do the plays that Hurts can.
Right.
There's little 20 yards or only like 7 yards for Wentz. So like those two things have me convinced that like we kind of have a future. I'll never commit 100% until we can see like some kind of like cleanup, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, draft those 3 draft picks, Bama, 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 baby, and fucking build this team. And
Yeah.
I don't. I still think they need a linebacker. I really do think that needs to be a fucking targeted area. And they can. I don't want to see a wide receiver in the first round. I don't know where I'm at with that, but like, and we're not doing the draft thing, but all I'm saying is that I kind of have pushed my chips in on Hurts. Like I'm more comfortable than I was even weeks ago. Like he's poised, he's calm. He still makes you like a quarterback like that that's confident, that's making questionable throws that normally should be picked that are getting through. That's confidence, that's swagger.
Yeah.
That's what you want in a quarterback. And I feel like a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the Minshew, like should they start, should they bench him? I'm still not. I still agree with what I said about like if he came out and he had a shitty half, like reminiscent of the Giants game. I think you could have kicked him in the butt by putting Minshew in.
Right.
But now it doesn't matter at all because this is Hurts' team and the future is bright. Honestly, it really is bright, and it didn't seem like that for the year.
No, I'm like super super thankful that like he has been given the chance by Sirianni and by the coaching staff on this team to develop. And I mean, clearly there's some coaching going on here that I feel like had been lacking in the past. Like uh, I don't feel like Wentz developed. This is going to sound weird because they fucking won a Super Bowl, but like I don't feel like Wentz developed anywhere near as much in the time he was here versus how much Hurts has developed in this 1 year.
Well, here's the problem with that. Like if you're trying to like pick that apart and all that shit, it's like he tore his ACL on a pretty nasty hit, right? Like
Yeah,
just a
yeah, it
dead
was.
knee shot,
Yeah,
and like that season was the only season that he was like, could you say elite? I mean, he probably would have won the MVP.
yeah, he was on track to win MVP, so I guess you could say he was elite that season.
So and then it just there hasn't been development, and I don't know if it's like his attitude or he thinks
Right.
I don't know what Wentz's problem is, but like he it still makes some really fucking dumb throws in Indy and
Yeah, and bad decisions.
hundred
Uh,
percent, and it's just
so
shit that I'm glad I don't have to deal with as much.
yes, I'm really just thankful and glad that this dude has like he seems like he's a fucking sponge, dude.
Yeah.
And he is getting better before our eyes, and it's really fucking cool to see it happen. And it's not that I didn't believe in him. Like I said this a long time ago. I was like, I really fucking like this dude. He is likable. Like you want to root for him. You want him to succeed. But it just it looks so scary
Mm-hmm.
because he's throwing like 40, 50%, and he's looking to run first and he's only looking at one guy. Like, but that is so much different now. And now it's so different to the point where Sirianni trusts him enough to let him fucking call audibles, dude.
Yeah, and
He's
that wasn't
calling
happening.
audibles.
Yeah.
And not only is he calling audibles, he did not get the play in the helmet. I'm sure you heard about this.
Yeah, of
He did
course.
not get the play in the helmet on that 3rd and 14 where he hit
Greg
Ward
Ward.
down the field on a crazy fucking throw and catch.
It was a
By
piss
the way,
missile.
unbelievable. The whole play was insane,
Yeah.
and he fucking like just made that. She just like called the fucking play and was like, "All right, let's go," and he did that shit. So I love that he is developing as a quarterback in front of our eyes, and it's fucking cool. And I'm ready to give Hertz the check, and I am
Mm.
I am pushing the chips in on Hertz
I think you have
because
to, and I think,
it's
yeah, and I
exciting, man.
still like I'm on this group on Facebook. It's full of fucking, everyone should have fucking shuddered. But these guys are fucking moronic, man. It's just like I don't. What do they want? What do they fucking want?
Well, that's like the Sixers group on Facebook. Like
Yeah,
everybody, like Embiid misses a free throw, they're like, "Get him out of here!"
I definitely
Like,
got kicked out of that group.
let me know if you want back in.
Yeah, I might. No, I mean, and like I told you this a couple weeks ago. Like my brother-in-law was like Chrissy's brother. He was like, I would take Baker over Jalen Hurts, and I don't get that. That trade, it just would never make sense to me.
Why would you do that?
I
Especially right now with like the okay, so this is another reason, and there's one more thing that we need to talk about before we move on, but this is still on the Hertz topic, so we can still go here. But here's the big thing that no one really thinks about. You have a really high chance of if you find the guy that is on his rookie deal and you can build a roster around that guy and you find the guy he's good enough to get you moving, win some games, get into the playoffs, like exactly what the Eagles have right now. He is on a rookie deal. He is costing you almost nothing. You can build around him. You can get a free agent. You can start putting pieces together, just like they did in Buffalo with Josh Allen, just like they did in Kansas City with Mahomes before he got the huge deal.
he oh,
This is huge, and and to say that you would trade Hurts, who is on a rookie deal, for a guy making $30 million a year or whatever the fuck Baker makes, I don't even know. That's just asinine right now.
yeah.
You can't do it. You can't.
Hurts is younger than some of the fucking draft picks that are coming out.
Right. You shared something with me, and he's 23.
Yeah.
I think there's guys coming out in the draft this year that are 23.
Yep.
And he's already got a year and a half of NFL experience.
Some
And
would
he's about
say-
to go to the playoffs.
Some would say 2 years of experience.
Fine. Okay. At this point, like fuck it. It's like it's fine. Like he's fine. He is fine. He is not the problem.
No, not at all. And listen, I'm telling you, if he can hit on these draft picks, now the big thing is we might not have 3 at the end of the day because I really do
Right.
think they'll package and they'll move up. But that's fine. But if you move up, you have to fucking hit. You have to hit.
I almost think it's almost risky to move up. I think what they might do is
Back? Don't tell me that.
either move back or trade one for a free agent, or not a
Okay,
free agent, but like a veteran
Fitzpatrick?
player, like an edge rusher, or a fucking stout linebacker. If you can't get him in the draft, like trade that first round pick for a nice linebacker. Like
I'd like them to
it could
take.
happen.
I'd like them to take Luke though.
I'd love Luke, dude.
He's
Lucetta.
projected like
his name.
third.
His name is Lucetta, but
What Luke, fuck. No one says my name right anyway. So what the fuck?
I know, right?
So but anyway, before we turn this into a draft pod.
Wait, no, hold on. There's one more thing.
Okay, hit me.
There's one more checkbox that we needed to know at the beginning of the season, and his name is Miles Sanders.
Ugh.
And I think you owe this motherfucker an apology.
I don't know anyone shit. No, they definitely missed him last week. I'm on the same. I just feel like running backs are so fucking shifty. Like, hold on.
I hear the squeaky toy.
I feel like you can find a running back to be replaceable. I don't like spending money on running backs, and I understand that Sanders is pretty cheap right now. And I get it all. I hear you. And they definitely missed him last week. And I feel like if Jordan Howard was a little bit healthier, he would have been more impactful. But yeah, they definitely did miss Sanders for sure. I mean, I'm not going to argue that fact.
Okay, but here's the thing. You still have Sanders for another year. Like he's
Yeah.
not a free agent yet. So he's cheap and he's still here for another year. I'm saying, dude, we're good. We're
Yeah.
good with what we have. Like,
And I love
keep
Gainwell.
Sanders. I love Gainwell. He provides exactly what you need every once in a while. And
Is
he's going to
Boston Scott
develop.
good.
Boston Scott is Darren Sproles.
And that's my thing is like I don't think he goes anywhere in the NFL and has success besides the Eagles. I really don't. Like look at Corey Clement. Even at the end of his Eagles tenure, he wasn't fucking good. Wendell Smallwood's still in the league. How's that happening?
Well, okay, and here's the thing with Boston Scott. They keep signing him to 1 year deal, 1 year deal.
Yeah, he
Like,
don't care.
So he's a free agent, and he costs like not even $1 million.
Yeah.
So
no.
if he's willing to stay for that, and they see, but here's the thing: they might not re-sign him. I don't know. I don't know if they re-sign him.
Well, it's the old Gainwell, right? Like, is Gainwell gonna be your guy? and that's what you need to decide. And again, it's different roles. Like the problem with Boston Scott is, and like when I played rugby, right? I'm gonna do this, but when I used to play, it was so much harder to tackle those meaty little guys because like they have the low center of gravity. They pop through your shoulders, and it hurt to tackle those guys because they fucking laid down punishment because they're like, well, I'm fucking small, so I need to prove my point here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So like it's harder to tackle Scott. So and that gives you like my whole point is you get Miles Sanders with the yak, you get Gainwell with the passing abilities, and then you can get Scott. I don't think Jordan Howard's on the team next year, and he probably shouldn't be, but someone should sign him because I still think he's an NFL running back.
Well, I mean, you can even argue that was he even on the team this year? He was on the fucking practice squad,
For
and
most of the time.
somehow landed in the roster again and is producing again. But there's always a role for that kind of guy, and
100%.
like, could they keep four guys around? Like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, I
But,
mean, so
but
then
they
that
don't have that guy though. Like, they don't have the Howard. See, right now, like Gainwell and Scott kind of serve the same role. Like they're the kind of speedy, can catch passes guy.
yeah.
They're both the same guy. So like, you don't have the Howard. You don't have the bowling ball guy.
Which and again, I stand by this. If he was 100% healthy last week, he would have definitely had a better game. Like you could tell he was lingering and hurting, for sure.
I think my thing is that all I'm getting to is that at the beginning of the season we had three big things: Sirianni, Hurts, and Sanders, and I'm putting check boxes on all three of them.
See, my checkbox for Sanders is kind of like in the middle though, because my thing with him has always been the injuries, right? Like he
I'm
just
not
can't
saying.
stay.
Hold on. Let me just say. I'm not saying that we need to like sign him long term to a 5-year
100%.
extension. No, I'm saying that he's our guy this year, 100%, and he's our guy next year,
Yeah.
100%. Unless they could trade him and get something, but that's not usually how it works in the NFL. So
Yeah, and like teams like the Cowboys sign like Elliott's and like the Saints sign, you know,
Kamara.
yeah, and fucking Taysom Hill. Like they just some of these guys just get fucking. I'm gonna dog that signing every time.
So worst signing ever. It really is.
Easily the worst signing ever. But yeah, like I just feel like the running back staple. It's rotatable. It's get a guy on a rookie deal, have him ball out, and then send him off. You know what I mean? Shit, they could sign Saquon if they really wanted to. You know what I mean? He's gone. So
It's an interesting thought. I mean, they're gonna be looking. I think. Do you think? No, you just fucked me up there for a second because
you're
now my
welcome.
brain's going. Like, do you think that the Giants would entertain a pick for Saquon?
I mean, well, if you listen to Joe Judge, oh, you have ex players that are clamoring to be back here, making more money elsewhere. Like, I wouldn't want to fucking play for that guy, and I'm sure half the fucking players know that shit. So
But would they do? I guess my point though, like, would they do it in the division?
yeah, I mean, no, because the Giants fucking hate the Eagles because the whole last year thing that happened too, where we rest our starters or whatever. Remember
Yeah,
that? And it
yeah, I
cost them
remember.
the fucking playoff or whatever.
Yeah, it
Like, fuck
was
off. You
not
didn't
good.
deserve the playoff. Fucking fuck you. The fucking Giants, a joke franchise.
So
Boo.
so that's where we're at. I mean, I'm putting checks in all the boxes, especially going into next season. I'm committed to Hertz into at least for another year. I mean, I'm not. There's no timeline really on Hertz for me right now, and Sanders, I'm at least committed through next year.
You have to be. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
like no, even with his injury history, you don't move on from him. You maybe next year you try to see if you can trade away him. Maybe halfway through the season, if you think the other guys are panning out, or if they do draft someone, yada yada yada.
right,
I think there's potential there. I just, the injury thing is like what really like it bothers me. Just because, and it's not his fault of his own. I'm sure he's doing everything he can to stay healthy. He's just unlucky. And I've said this and I feel like a boomer when I say this, but like your best quality is your availability. And maybe that's because I'm a manager, but like I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? Like, we're only as good as we are at work if we have everyone there working, right? Like I'm short
right.
someone, I'm fucked. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel. But there's pieces that, can run the team when he's not in, and it's clear. And
Yeah.
I think the way he's been doing the rotations has been fucking beautiful, man. Just like, Scott, Bulk, Gainwell, and Howard, splitting it. And actually, Gainwell's not even getting the runs. He's just kind of in there. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then that will lead me to the last thing, and then we can, move to the next point. Do you keep Jordan Howard or do you keep Greg Ward?
Ah, man.
That
Like,
one's tough.
see, yeah, and Greg Ward, he's he's producing. You could almost argue more than Rager.
100%.
So I don't think it's as big a deal to keep a guy like Ward because a team usually keeps like 5 wide receivers,
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, he's got the one drop is the egregious thing I think about on the Giants game, and I think that's just a bad game. But I love Greg Ward. I think he makes big time catches in clutch situations. And look at what we're talking about with the no headset. They couldn't hear the play. He called the play. He
Yeah,
catches it.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like Hertz is not afraid to throw to fucking anybody. Like
No, 100%.
a lot of guys, especially young guys, they get keyed in on like one or two guys. Like Hertz is doing a really good job as of late, really really scanning and looking for the open guy, and it's cool to see that he's hitting guys like Ward. He's hitting guys like fucking Rager, like out of nowhere, like on some weird fucking like 15-yard out route. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's starting to happen, and it's kind of cool. But I think Ward has a spot. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the thing is, the thing for me is like, I don't know what you have after Smith. Like, I like Watkins, but I don't know if he's like a true two. Like, I really don't think he is a true two.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think they have a two on this team.
100%. They just got a collection of like two-ish and mostly threes.
Right. So if you had Smith, right? Obviously, we're probably going to be latching on to him hopefully for as long as possible. So maybe you can flip one of those first round picks for a wide receiver, somebody who only has 1 year left on his contract.
Antonio
Maybe,
Brown.
maybe it's a maybe it's a big contract, and the
Yeah.
and the team is starting to suffer, and like you can hit that right on the right at the right time. Like I don't know, they might be able to do something like that because like Diggs completely changed the dynamic in Buffalo. You can get a free, not even a free agent,
Adam Thielen.
a Adam Thielen, somebody like that, where you got to. I don't fucking have everybody's contract memorized, so I don't know who has 1 year left. But that's the prime time to get in there.
Yeah.
You give them this first round pick. You take this guy who has got 1 year left on his contract. The Eagles are going to be in. I think they're going to be in the all in mode
They
in
have
the
to
next
be. I
in the
mean,
next 2 years because you have Hertz on his rookie deal. You can spend money in positions where you're not having it all tied up in quarterback. And I think that this is the time for them to go all in and fucking make this shit happen.
like look how good that Wentz trade is going to turn out for us. You know what I mean?
It's unbelievable, dude.
And that's the shit about Howie Roseman where you're like, all right, the dude fucking is good. It's just like, for every nine things he does good, he does one that's catastrophically stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not even gonna say because I'm sick of fucking saying it, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just a certain things where you're just like, what the fuck, man.
Yeah.
And
So
nothing in the whole entire world on the draft board would suggest Rager over Jefferson. I did it. There's nothing. Like, they're like, oh, well, we want punt return capability. That's the stupidest
I
fucking thing I ever heard.
I don't
Seriously.
think that I don't think that there's ever going to be any way to, like this is just one of those where you just have to be like, yeah, it fucking sucks. And
And
and we're going to just
I think the playoff run here is going to be nice. That's going to keep your mind off of it. And then, dude, if they can hit the draft, I'm telling you, the Jefferson thing goes poof.
What about
It-
DK Metcalf? Would you go get him?
Who do we take over him? Do you know?
I don't remember. I yes, I do know, but I fucking don't remember
But
right
see how
now.
like it doesn't matter anymore, right? Like it's not burnt in your brain.
It was
Oh,
for
it's
a long
JJ.
time.
It's JJ.
Whiteside. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's like we pick a Pac-12 fucking player out of Stanford over a fucking SEC elite specimen of a human.
Right.
But
But the reason why I brought him up is because I know he's got one year left on his deal, and
Russell
like
might be
that's
gone.
and Russ might be gone. So that might be a prime guy to be like, yo, we have this 26 number 26 pick in the first round, whatever. Take this for DK. I don't know. I don't know.
Bro,
I mean,
even if
like,
even if Metcalf isn't your one, he's absolutely an elite two.
oh my
Absolutely.
God, could you imagine Smith and Metcalf? Like, come on, dude.
I'm I'm salivating.
I hope that they do something like this because having no money tied up in the quarterback position is it just frees you up to be way more flexible with other stuff. And I hope that they do it. I really do.
To do whatever you
So
want to do, and I'm fine with it. I don't care what they do with the draft picks as long as they don't fucking take anyone from the Pac-12, and they don't take anyone from the fucking where's TCU at the Big 12.
I think so. I
Yeah, I
think
want none of them
maybe.
fucking schools. SEC, maybe a Big 10 school, but that's it for
So
me.
listen, this team is awesome and they're fun to watch again.
Yeah,
And even like when they're struggling in the starts, like you're like, yeah, they'll probably be all right. Like
they'll figure it
they're
out.
kind of starting to build a little trust back with us, so it's kind of cool. But something that we do need to look at though is this defense and like you,
I was waiting for you to get here because
yeah, like uh, it's so it's so weird that like they come out in these games and they look like they're playing street ball and Gannon's not even calling plays. They're just like, yo, Slay, you're gonna cover the fastest guy. Nelson, you're gonna obviously be on the other side because you have to. And then everything else is like, okay, just go. That's what it looks like. And then they come out in the second half and they like then they have a plan and they like know exactly what they're doing and they got everybody on lockdown.
I
I don't know what's going on.
I listen. I know a lot of people are worried about the defense, and I love the bend don't break defense. I love it. I'm a big fan of it because it fucking
I'm not
works.
worried about the players. I'm worried about like the coaching. Like what's going
Well,
on in the
first
planning.
off, number one, can he stop wearing fucking sunglasses everywhere he goes? I can't handle it. You look like a fucking douche canoe. Okay. Secondly, you're 100% right. They have Slay line up against their best wide receiver, and listen, it fucking works. Like that's
Oh
obviously
yeah,
gonna
well
work.
yeah.
And listen, I call him poo water, but like he's been playing pretty well. That PI was kind of like you're gonna call that one. You got to call the one on Smith. Like you can't just call that one. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you
That
have
was
to
a
call
bad. That was a cheap. It was call like it was a call. Like it
a
definitely was a
hundred
thing,
percent.
but
It just
you
happened the
can't
last fucking
miss.
series.
Yeah, you can't miss the one on Goddard then, and you can't like. There's a couple, and there's one on Smith. Like you, there's a couple that were similar to that. Yeah, for sure.
So, and I agree. I think you have good corners. I mean, Nelson's up and down for me, but you know what he does lack. You know, he's got the safety help because I don't care what anyone says, and I said this weeks ago. McLeod is playing some of the best football he's played, and he was
Yeah,
slowed up because he
absolutely.
had ACL surgery. And listen, I'm not a professional athlete, but I tore my ACL. I know what that's like. It's a fucking shitty injury. It's hard to come back from. So like, it just takes time, especially when you're a professional. And dude, like that interception, holy shit!
Oh,
Because I'm not sure that game goes the way we want it to go if he doesn't intercept
I
that.
know, man. That last drive was nerve wracking. They were playing quarters D. They were, they were. It was clear they were playing two deep quarters, and every play was like dink, 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 right underneath, and then they hit like one over the top, like a little bit, and like I was getting really nervous that they were gonna punch it in, but that catch by McLeod was fucking incredible,
And he's not listen, he's not
like incredible.
short-handed. You know what I mean? Like that's not a guy that's, all hands team. That's not Slay making that pick. That's
No,
just a fucking safety
but that
making a
was
hell
like
of a fucking
full.
play.
That was fucking full layout.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god, like fucking. That's like if they do anything in the one of those plays where you're like,
Save
fuck,
the
like look at
season.
this fucking play. Yeah, like
Although the way that the
unbelievable.
NFL, the way that it worked out that week too, like if they lost, they would still be fine if they win this week. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
but I mean it's nice, you know what I mean? Like I texted you at halftime of the Green Bay game. I was like, "Yeah, I will see you guys as a playoff team because that shit was over."
Yep. Yeah,
So
Green Bay's a fucking wagon right now. But Maddox had a good game. I know that you're not like a huge Maddox guy,
Well, I
but
just don't want to sit there and say that he's better than Slay. I mean, that was a fucking egregious
n-
like a
no,
statement.
I know. That was that was aggressive. That was aggressive. Way too aggressive. But by the way, I did not say that for the
Yeah,
record.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was not
I mean,
me.
that's
We're not
he's a
referencing me
nickel.
here.
He's a nickel cornerback, and he's good at that role.
Yeah, it's a slot
Yeah,
cornerback.
100%, and I'm good with it. Cause like, look at like I think of like Nickel Roby. He was fucking terrible. I
But dude,
like
he had some huge plays in the fourth quarter. Like he had that one drive where it was basically him. Like he fucking shut the whole fucking thing down. And
100%.
that was he was playing with some fucking fire. And this team is this defense especially is starting to play with fucking fire. Like
Yeah,
and the pass rush, like the pass rush was kind of weak in the first half, and I don't know if it's scheme or if it's I
Ryan
don't know what
Kerrigan
it is.
started.
Well, that's part of it then because like the pass rush in the first half compared to the pass rush in the second half was completely like night and day
Well, I
different.
mean, Sweat is just like that's another great sign. See, like
Phew.
every time I talk, I'm like and I don't. I'm not this guy. I've been bashing Howie since the start of time, but like I don't know, man. Shit's starting to like kind of peel itself to being like, well, Howie might be pretty good at his fucking job. And you know when it
You
was?
gotta that's all yeah, all I'm saying is like yes, he misses on picks. Like you can't there's nothing we can say about him missing on picks, but there are some guys on this roster that he either drafted or somehow gathered up in free agency or with a trade or whatever
The
that are
Slay.
huge impact players on this team, dude.
We gave up a third round pick for a Slay.
Like that's incredible.
That's fucking. We got rid of Wentz. I mean, you got fucking. They locked up Maddox. They locked up Goddard. They moved Ertz. They got a second, right, or a third?
I think it was a third.
Okay, but they moved them and they signed Goddard the next day. So like they're doing. He's doing the things that he needs to do to generate it. But you're right. Like it's the swing and the very big fucking miss is what gets people down on him. But he's a
Yep.
wizard with the money. I mean, I imagine he'll sign Watkins in the offseason. I he's gonna have to restructure like Cox again and Graham, and he'll figure a way to do it, and then he'll do it. And that's why I think like you need to draft a lineman. I know everyone's gonna kill me, but like I think you need a defensive lineman because you got older guys there, man. And I'll
Well,
tell you what, dude, fucking Fat Williams, he looks good. Like I the only and even as annoying as Barnett is like he still has a high motor, and as long as he uses his fucking brain, and he's been way better than he was after that. I think that was that game he had like two in a row, right? Like just boneheaded
yeah.
fucking. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I know Joe's concerned about the defense, and I get where the concerns come from, but I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of the bend don't break, and they do that. I would like more blitzes. We were talking about that too. They finally started blitzing in the second half. Listen, if a quarterback is throwing like 90%, 100% against your defense, you got to do something, my friend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I would just wish it would happen a little sooner than the halftime adjustment. So
And like that's the other thing too. Like, yeah, like think about like I'm just looking at. I had to look it up because like while we're thinking about the defense, and I'm just like thinking about the playmakers on this team. Like Barnett makes some plays. He's not like our biggest playmaker, but that's a dude that was drafted. Cox was drafted. You have Hargrave.
Graham,
Hargrave was a free agent pickup. Like it's unbelievable as you start going down through the look and you're like, oh fuck, like this dude is putting together some fucking shit right
how
now.
about Edwards?
Like
Undrafted free dude. Ever since they made him the starting linebacker,
undrafted free agent. Like,
yeah.
come on, man.
And I
You
mean
know,
Singleton, he's terrible, but he's good,
yeah.
right? Like he's like a weird like.
McLeod, free agent.
Well, that was a big. I've always been a McLeod guy.
Yeah, but I'm just
Harris,
saying, like,
that was another free agent signing, and Nelson was a free agent signing. Like he's not like.
yeah. So
Epps
like
was
while we're on like the defense and we're looking at that side of the ball, dude, they got some shit. They got some shit going. They got some players on the defensive side of the ball, and you say it all the time. It comes down to line.
Yep.
And they got a solid offensive line. They got a fucking solid defensive line. And they got a quarterback who can make plays.
Oh, and by the way, during that losing streak, Lane Johnson wasn't fucking playing, and he hasn't given up a hurry all season, or he's given up one. So Lane Johnson's an All-Pro lineman. So if he was in, that's another win I think you can calculate for yourself if he was in those games.
Yep.
So, and
Yep.
even Avery, man, like everyone was dogging that. That was a terrible pick, but it's looking like it's starting to work out. Avery, he looks good. I love the D. I just don't like the coordinator, and I don't think I've liked the coordinator since our old boy Jimmy died.
I just got a text. I just got a text from my boy from Gordy, and he's like Gannon blows.
Yeah.
So he's right though. Like we don't trust Gannon. We trust Sirianni right now. We do not trust Gannon.
No, and you just need him to switch it up a little bit,
Yeah, and he's close. Like he could gain our trust. I think like
100%. As soon as he loses the sunglasses.
Yeah, yeah.
Pussy.
So you, yeah. So anyway, we've been talking about this like kind of for a while, but I think that where they are and where they stand right now, like they can go into the playoffs and make some fucking noise. This weekend doesn't matter. Don't let this weekend change the way that you feel about this team in any way, shape, or form. They are going to get destroyed.
Probably.
They're going to get murdered.
Back.
They're going to get murdered. It don't
Two
matter.
more things before we move on.
Go ahead.
We have to talk about that 4th down. Jalen Hurts gets stepped on. Somehow just fucking throws the ball behind his head. Boston Scott catches it. Devontae Smith with like a beautiful fucking block on the edge there to seal it. And a touchdown. And that changed the whole game. Once that touchdown went in, every emotion that I was feeling of like, Jesus. Even though there wasn't really that long of it. But that play to me was just, incredible. Seriously. Like, I'm using that word a lot tonight. But to have the poise to make that pitch while you're falling behind your head, that's wild to me. You know what I mean? So
unbelievable. I don't know how Hurts made that pitch. I really don't. It was unbelievable.
An athlete.
Yeah, I know.
And then,
what was the other one?
The fucking FedEx railing collapse. What are we doing? Like I was looking at I don't know about you, but the first thing I looked at was the welds on those.
I did too, dude. They looked like it was like so super thin. And that's exactly what happened. It broke right at the weld.
And it looked like, and some of them were boogered up. It looked like someone just put a bunch of fucking gum on it and spray painted it silver. But like that's crazy to me. And I know like a couple of my buddies in the other group chat didn't love the Jalen Hurts letter, but like I kind of liked it. That's leadership, man. That's what you need.
You got to do something, right?
Yeah, like you can't just stay stagnant. But I'm also kind of sick of the dude. The one dude's been on every radio station. He's been on every Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, all right, dude, we get it. You fucking shook his hand. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Oh, you've heard the guy, like one of the guys that fell?
Yeah, he's wearing a fucking Looney Tunes Eagles shirt. Like, do I need to tell you any more about this guy?
No.
He's like, I was just worried I ruined Jalen Hurts' season. I thought I blew his knees out. And I was like, oh, shut up, dude. But did you see that cameraman kicked the one dude?
Yeah, what the fuck? Listen, the gate, the fence was on the guy's camera. But why the fuck are you kicking him? It's not his fucking fault. He fucking just fell out of the stands, dude.
That some would say that's not composure.
Yeah. I think that's one of the quotes I saw. Like this, like that is not composure. And it was like a gif of like just bouncing back and forth of this guy kicking the guys. It's fucked up. But all right, so that was it, right? FedEx railing.
Yeah, it's insane to me. And then they said, "Oh, we gave all those people medical help." No, they didn't. They didn't.
Oh, absolutely. I hope if they needed medical attention that they got it.
They like 4 or 5 of those people said that they were like, "Get the fuck off the field."
Well, what the fuck?
That's gonna be a lawsuit.
That's a lawsuit, bro.
Hey,
Pond Lee hockey.
Danny's used to it, so
Pond Lee hockey.
Yeah. It's your boys,
we have
and brothers.
So listen, we have a playoff matchup coming up in 2 weeks. This weekend means nothing. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Playoff matchup in 2 weeks. There's 4 teams that they could possibly see in the first round. And I would like to know if you had to pick, if you got a choice to pick which team the Eagles would play in the playoffs first round to give them the best chance to win and get to the second round, who you picking?
Cardinals. And it's very close to the Cowboys for me. Like I'm like very torn between those two. But
Interesting.
the Cardinals, I just don't think are good at all. I really don't. And DeAndre's gonna. I don't even think DeAndre's gonna be back in time. So and AJ Green's been filling in kind of nicely there, but without DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not worried about it. And Slay will just be on green. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that you went Cardinals because I think that the Cardinals are overrated, man.
100%.
And I've been saying this for forever. They're I think my buddy Mike told me back in the beginning of the season. He was like, do you see? He was like, is anyone else going to win the Super Bowl other than the Cardinals?
Ugh.
Because this was back when they looked really good and they were the odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. It wasn't even close. And I was like, I think that they suck. I don't think that they're that good. I think they're overrated.
I
And
actually remember you saying that honestly.
yeah, and I still believe that. So yes, my pick would be the Cardinals first off, and for me, second would be absolutely the Cowboys
Yeah.
because if you look at what the Cowboys have done since Dak's injury, which is being downplayed, but it's something's going on because dude, he's not right. Something's up.
He's. Did you see
Something's
that
up.
meme where he was like practicing the Dallas sad face?
No, I didn't see it. You should try to find it and share it from Twitter.
I will for
That's
sure.
funny.
I mean, I just
But
pulled up the Cardinals schedule, and like they, I mean, I don't. I look at they lost to every team that potentially any good. So I don't know. I struggle with the Cardinals being elite. I don't think I think they have the worst chance to play the Cardinals though. Am I correct when I say that?
I think that sounds right to me. I don't, dude. There's so many like outcomes.
Possibilities. I
Yeah,
think the
like I
best was Tampa Bay.
okay. I don't like that.
No, not at all. And people were like, "Oh, Tom Brady's already struggling." I'm like, he's not fucking struggling. He just ran a 2 minute drill with zero timeouts and drove it 90 fucking yards to win that game against the Jets. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, I don't want to face Tom Brady in the playoffs if
No,
we can avoid it. Like if you can
100%.
avoid Tom Brady, fucking avoid him. Why the fuck would you want to play Tom Brady in the playoffs? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
and I also think the Rams are kind of fraudy too. Like, I think they have a legitimate shot. I've been saying that. I think they can win one game. I think they lose that next round for sure. I don't see it being an NFC Championship game. But
Yeah. I mean, who knows, man? You really don't know, but I think you are right, though. It looks like to me, from what I'm seeing, it looks like the most likely scenario is Packers 1 seed, then the Rams, then the Bucks, then the Cowboys, then the Cardinals, then the Niners, then the Eagles.
so what we need to play the
So that would be
Cardinals.
a Rams first round for the Eagles.
Yeah, so we need the Cardinals to win against Seattle, and we need the Rams to lose to the Niners, and everything else is kind of cemented in that sense. Because then the
And
Niners
that
are in.
right.
So if you want to play the Cardinals, you need the Cardinals to win, and you need the Rams to lose.
Right, because if the Niners somehow slide, then New Orleans sneaks in as the 7 seed and the Eagles end up as the 6 seed. Um,
There's
yeah,
there's like I don't know, man. The Saints in the playoffs. Who do they got?
yeah. The
They got
Saints are
Atlanta
well. That's definitely a winnable game.
for
But
sure, but like the Saints, fuck the Saints. They're not that good.
so here's the other thing too. Like people dog the Eagles because, and me included. Like I said this. I think I've said it a bunch of times. Like the Eagles beat the bad teams. They don't beat the good teams. But the same can pretty much be said for the Cowboys.
And the Cardinals.
If you look and the Cardinals. So if you look at the teams that the Cowboys have beaten, really their staple win in their schedule this year was the Patriots.
And was that before the Patriots like kind of had it figured out?
It
That was
was it
early.
was mi- it was mid October, so that was Mac Jones's sixth game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, is that really a huge win these days? I don't know, but that's their biggest win, and I mean it's bigger. It's bigger than, the Eagles' biggest win, but I don't know. It's yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and they took that game to overtime. So it's not like they just like, they were fucking hammering them out, you know what I mean?
right.
They lost to Denver. They lost to the Raiders. I don't know, man. I don't like them. They're frauds. They're
I
always
agree.
frauds.
I agree. So I would go. I would want to go Cardinals, Cowboys, and then after that Rams for sure, and Tampa Bay a distant fourth. I hope we
Yeah,
don't have to see them
I
in the
don't want
first
to play
round.
them unless you have to.
Yeah. Yep. That's where I'm
So,
at.
no, it's good for me.
So that's it. I mean, week 18 doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I like I said, I think they're gonna get murdered. And it doesn't matter. We can move on, and we can look ahead to our first round playoff matchup. We will find out, and we will know by Sunday night.
Which I'm really excited for that Chargers Raiders game. Like super excited.
Oh my God, it's drama, dude, to the max.
I think I'm like a closet Chargers fan.
Chargers or Herbert?
I like them both, but I like the like. Listen, if you're gonna pick a second team, right? Second team, which I think, yeah. But like,
Second team.
they got cool jerseys, man. They got cool
The
jerseys.
powder blue is hot.
True boy.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it is.
I don't know. I don't know. I like the Chargers in that game, obviously, and you'll know that later. But all right, moving along. Choo choo.
Yeah, so I mean, the next thing that we should just glance on right now is the NCAA bowl playoff situation. So, we had two big games last weekend, on Friday, and we bet both of them, and Kenny, you did not fare so well.
No, and I should have went with my fucking gut about Cincinnati. I mean, that wasn't as bad though, but I really did. I think Michigan just woof, woof. They didn't even fucking show up.
Now, Michigan looked like they didn't even like want to be in the arena.
That's all right. That's the one Big Ten player they can draft is that fucking either that end or that linebacker.
It. Oh yeah, Hutchinson and Ajabo.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are fucking studs. If either one of them ended up on our team, I would be totally fucking good with that.
And
Um,
Hutchinson's mom's like smoking hot.
bo- bonus,
It's a little fun fact, my friends.
bonus. So Kenny, you had Cincinnati plus 13 and a half. It didn't pan out, and Michigan plus 7.5. It also did not plan out.
Michigan didn't even show up, so
Yeah.
cunts.
And so I had, what did I do? I don't remember who I picked. I think um
You had
I
Bama
had
and Michigan.
Bama. I had Bama minus 13.5 because I like that number, and I had Michigan also plus 7.5. I actually thought that they would have a chance to win that game outright, and they obviously fucking struggled major. I did not. I didn't see that coming. I knew that Georgia would fucking want to play, but Jesus Christ, man, Michigan didn't even fucking try. It didn't look like.
I just don't see how Alabama loses, especially because that stat line about Nick Saban being like 28-1 against his former assistants, and the one win was Jimbo Fisher this year.
Whoa.
So I don't like. I mean, honestly, I hate Alabama, and I only hate them because it's like that Tom Brady New England effect. You know what I mean? I'm sick of them. But I don't think Georgia can win that game, and I don't. I think Kirby Smart's a good coach, but I just don't think he's gonna outcoach Nick Saban. And this is the first time in like a long time. And like I know Mac Jones is good, and I know he was good, but like this guy's better.
Who?
So the quarterback for Alabama,
Bryce Young.
yeah, I like that guy.
So do I. I mean, dude's just he's fucking player. He's a
So
fucking player.
in my mind, there's no way Bama doesn't win. No way.
I completely disagree.
That's fine.
Um, Georgia is Georgia just had one misstep, and it was against Alabama, and they're not going to do it twice.
Yeah.
They're just not.
It's just that stat line really like you can't tell me that like when they took that photo of like of Alabama holding the fucking trophy and like Nick Saban's just sitting there like, yeah, whatever. This is like another fucking trophy. Like the moment's never too big for Nick Saban. And then you got Kirby Smart on the other side. It's like tossing oranges in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just there's something to say about the head coach, and I almost would say that like talent wise, it's pretty close, right? Like it matches up nicely. I just don't, I just don't see it. I just don't see how they lose. But I mean, I hear you.
Well, I just think that Georgia's not going to misstep twice against Alabama. That's just what I think. And after watching Georgia, the way they played against Michigan, they played a solid, stout game. Like there was
100%.
no question that they would have beat probably anybody that in that game. Now, can they do it again? I don't know. They looked pretty focused. They looked good. I mean, Alabama had some stuff. They had some falterings. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's Georgia's game. So I'm going with Georgia plus the or sorry, minus the 2.5. And I think Kenny, you're rolling Bama
You want to go
plus
50?
plus the 2.5. Yeah, I'll go 50 with you.
All right.
I'll go 50 with you.
I won't pay you for 4 weeks. Just ask McCann. I get the money to you.
Yeah. So let's go 50 on the Georgia. The devil went down to Georgia.
I mean, I'm not thrilled about betting on Bama because I don't like them, but like
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
hear
like
you.
personally.
So, right. If you had to choose someone to win, it would not be Alabama again.
No.
So yeah. So, I mean, hey, I love watching the national title game. You know, it's always an awesome game to watch, no matter who's playing. It'll probably be close. It'll probably come down to like the fourth quarter, and you know, hopefully, hope for the record, are we betting spread or are we betting money line?
Spread's fine.
Okay. So I'm giving you 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to be said about the college football playoff. I mean, the bowl season has been lackluster. As I said, everybody knows how I feel about it. I think it needs to be improved. And
If you're,
yeah.
this is the prime example of why I've been saying that the Bulls are dog shit. Corral, it was a first round pick, and now he might fall out of the first round because he tore his fucking knee up in a meaningless Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Um,
And just after I saw Herb Street and Desmond Howard on there, basically talking shit on the players that are opting out and not playing in the bowl
Yeah,
games
real easy for those two schmucks.
because
You
the
know?
players say that they don't matter, they don't mean anything, because they don't mean anything. And if you want them to mean something, then you got to either pay these guys to pay them to play in the bowl game, or make them mean something. Expand the playoffs. Like, it's not. Listen, man, I don't care if you are an All-American and you know you're going to get drafted in the NFL. If you're a first round or a
Look
second
at
round
Parsons.
shoe-in,
Look at
Yeah.
Parsons.
he
He's out
didn't
of
even
the
play
whole
for a whole
season.
season. I know. So if you know that you're going to get drafted, it's basically like an insurance policy that you don't play in that game.
I
And
wouldn't.
Corral went and played, and he fucking tore his ACL. I think it was.
Is that what it is? Yeah. See, that's fuck that. No fucking way. That's
I
gonna
don't know if
cost
that's
him.
confirmed, but that's what I
That's gonna
remember
cost
hearing.
him millions of dollars.
He'll still get drafted, but like he's not
No,
going
I
to get
know.
drafted as high as he would have. You know,
Someone's
Like,
gonna take Sam Howell over him. You know what I mean? When you probably shouldn't have.
So yeah, I don't know. They need to either. That's why one of my options is to expand the playoff, because it makes the games more meaningful for all these players. If that's what you want, if you want the competition, if you want the good players to stay in and play to the end, then you got to either do one of two things: pay them, or make the games actually mean something.
100%. I mean,
So
you're not gonna get a
let's-
complaint on me.
I know. So let's move on to the other two shit shows that we have in the town.
Let's start with the Sixers.
So the Sixers have, had a little bit of a situation last night, And I think that we might be on opposite sides of this table.
Mm.
So I'm curious to see, without spending too much time, because I know we're getting deep on this podcast already. But you know, so everybody, I'm sure everybody knows by now the Tobias Harris situation that happened, um, with him telling the crowd to don't clap, don't fucking clap. That whole thing. Um, what do you think?
So we're not allowed to cheer for them. We're not allowed to boo for them. So we just gotta sit there like a fucking kindergarten class in timeout with our hands on our fucking under our butts, right? That every dude, I tell you what, everything the Sixers have done since losing that game has alienated the fan base. Not everyone, because obviously there's gonna be people that just like love basketball, love the
Yeah,
Sixers.
right.
Gordy's a prime example of that. And I'm not talking shit on Gordy. I'm not talking shit on any of those fans. I get it, but everything else, like I'm not even like a casual fan. Like I like the Sixers. Like I like basketball, but what everything they've done has alienated me so far. These fucking athletes are such fucking pussies nowadays, man. Oh, don't fucking clap for me when I make a fucking bucket. Then we're up 14 points. Fuck out of here, dude. He's another one. Package him with Ben Simmons and get something else. This is the fucking biggest waste of a contract. And they fucked themselves because they let Butler walk and they were like, well, we have all this money, so we'll just give it to Bias Harris, who in his whole NFL, NBA career has averaged 20 points for one fucking season. Guess what? Wasn't with the Sixers.
So, so I guess my thing is like the perception of Toby is really bad around here, and I don't really get it. I don't think.
Because
Like,
he has a
can
max
you explain
contract.
to me? Okay, but it's a max. It's not a super max. It's not like, again, you say this to me all the time. It's not your money. So why do you care?
Because just like live up a little bit to the contract is what the complaint is, right?
Okay, but like, what do we want from him? He's given us 18 and 8.
I want you to
Average.
average 20 and not be a fucking bitch, is what I
So
want.
18 and 8 doesn't get it done.
No. Look at his shooting percentage. It's in the 30s, man. It's in the
All right, listen.
30s.
No, it's not. It's 45.
Okay, might as well be 30s.
Listen,
I'm done
I
with
think
him.
I think that the perception is bad on Toby because of the missing Ben piece, and that's not his fault.
How come he can't take over a game? Seriously, why can't he take over a game?
I don't know, but he's not that guy. He's not a number 2 guy. He's a number
Okay, so
3.
if we're giving him $180 million, granted,
It's not your
not
money. Who cares?
not my money. If it was, it would not be spent on him. But it matters in the sense of what else is going on. This team looks fucking stupid. They're just running and beat around. They're just
I know.
running him around, and giving him nothing,
Yeah,
nothing.
and B
And
puts up a triple last night, and it was
if
like,
Toby's off or if Toby's on, and then Korkmaz is off. If Korkmaz is off, Toby's on. You know what I mean? Like we can't get 3 fucking people to play consistently together, and it's because we miss Ben Simmons. I don't.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
So
infuriating.
I think, right. So like, even when you just talked it out right there, I don't think that your problem, and I think that you're like, this is where the situation where you're, I think, in the majority, just like hating on the Phillies and like Joe hates on the Flyers. Like, this is you in the majority, right? I think the majority right now is tired of Toby,
Yeah.
and but it's because they want him to be a number 2 guy with Embiid, and he's not a 2. He's a number 3 guy, and they're missing their number 2 guy,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. So
Big
you're
time. But
so
I don't.
you and a lot of other people are holding it against him and some of the other guys on the team because they don't have the number 2 guy, and that's the whole fucking problem.
But we're not prepared for success then, right? They're just not.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I'll go
100%.
I'll go back and I've said this a couple of weeks ago and I say it every time. The Jimmy Butler, that is a mistake. It just it's another big mistake in the stain of the Sixers, right? Like I just think the Sixers are a giant fucking stain that you can't get out of your fucking couch.
And when you're there with Ben Simmons at that time, you're like, you don't really know that he's going to turn out to be what it was.
And that's always
You know?
hindsight, right? That's hindsight's
Yeah.
2020, right? But
100%. 100%.
they could have moved on from Ben Simmons. He obviously, in the years that he's been there, he hasn't developed a shot. He hasn't grown. His foul line has gotten worse. So, like, at that point, they should have said, I mean, the most laughable offensive thing out of all that is Brett Brown, right? Like, even considering keeping Brett Brown over Jimmy Butler. I mean, a fucking a 12-year-old who plays AAU basketball could coach the Sixers if they had, you know what I mean, those pieces that mattered. So
Yeah.
that's just fuck. I think you get rid of Ben Simmons, you sign Jimmy Butler, and I honestly think they've probably win a championship. I really do.
Wow, man.
I'm serious. They're just the weirdest fucking team, and I want to get. I'm sure everyone's sick of me. I want to get over the Atlanta Hawks loss. I can't do it, and I don't think I'll be able to move on until they get.
You're
rid
not
of Ben
alone
Simmons.
though. That's the thing. Like
I know.
you're not alone in this. Like I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. I'm like I'm in, but I'm not. Like I'm not. I'm nowhere near what I was last year. Like last year, I was like fucking. I was gung ho about watching Sixers games.
This
This year, I'm like,
podcast is totally different last year.
yeah,
than it is
100%,
this year. Yeah.
100%. And they need to do something about it. My buddy Gordy, who we talk about all the time in the NBA section, dude knows his fucking basketball.
Yeah.
He really strongly thinks that they might move him, but before the trade deadline. But they're not. But again, they're not going to do it if it's like to cut. It's going to cut your nose off. Like you're not going to do it.
Do you remember what I said last week?
Or
maybe
no,
2 weeks
I had,
ago. It was
I had
2 weeks
I had Rona, man.
um, teams right now, like seriously, right now. This is why I don't think the trade deadline thing is going to happen. But I mean, I hope it does. But teams right now know what they have. They're like, all right, well, let's try to hold out with Ben Simmons because we're just going to offer shit. We're going to offer shit. You know, maybe they'll take it because they're tired of holding on to Ben Simmons. But they know that if they get to the offseason, and it's the same thing the Sixers know too. If the Sixers know they get to the offseason and they got Ben Simmons, they can get what they're asking for at that point.
Right.
But right now, no one's gonna mortgage their future for a guy who has mental health issues, right? Who doesn't know if he can fucking play basketball.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't even like even if they call the agent, right? And then like just say the Kings call the agent, and they're like, he's like, no, he'll play. Like, he's just not playing because he doesn't want to play for the Sixers, right? Like even if you got that reassurance, I'm not so sure you're fucking giving a haul. So that's why I think he's going to be on the bench for the season, and then in the offseason they'll get something because teams are going to want him to start the season next year.
Yep. I think you're right.
It's just something that I can see. It's like the Giroux thing. Like the writing's on the wall.
Okay, so since you're automatically building in the transition there to the Flyers,
Well,
the first thing I want to mention before we completely switch the gate is you mentioned that the Sixers team is not built to win. They are currently odds to win the championship plus 2,400. So if that doesn't tell you something right there, Vegas absolutely does not believe in the Sixers.
and why?
Neither do you.
But what have they done where like you can? This is why I'm kind of excited to get into like the basketball season near playoffs so we can talk to Gordy because I'm sure he'll argue. But
Yeah.
like what have they done? They haven't done anything. Listen, right now, if they trade Ben Simmons for Jaylen Brown, that's a fucking win, right? That's a great trade.
Yes, I think
But
so. Yes.
Why would the Celtics do that mid-season? There's no reason to do it.
No, they don't need to do that.
Exactly. So
Right.
I don't know, man.
Well, they've lost a good chunk of minutes also to due to COVID. I think Gordy shared something with me this today, and he's told me that they're second in the league in minutes lost due to COVID, and they're second in wins above replacement law, which is basically like the same type of stat where basically they lost almost 3 wins because of COVID.
Yeah.
And that's second highest in the league, so that's also a factor too.
I get it. I'm telling you, man. I just know too many people that are just like, I'm not fucking watching the Sixers.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. It's not just you, man.
You said it last week. You were like, how sad is it that like almost 3 of the major markets in the city are unwatchable?
Right.
Unwatchable.
Yeah. Yep. So speaking of the other alternative, the writing does seem to be on the wall with Giroux. and I mean, I feel like it's only a matter of time now until they're like, there it is.
Yep. Boom. I mean, I'm gonna
So
be
what
sad. I'm a big.
so what we're talking about is Claude Giroux, captain of Flyers. He's on the last year of his contract. And just like football, same deal, just like baseball. They're all kind of the same. Those guys that are in the last year of their contract, they are awesome trade prospects for teams that are struggling or looking to make something happen. And the Flyers are obviously in that boat. But the weird thing about the Flyers though is that they're not down and out. So
But
they
in a
got some
sense,
choices. They got some decisions to make.
they are though, just because of the division. It's going to be virtually impossible to crawl yourself out of the hole. You can't lose 10 games in a row and then expect to make the fucking playoffs. You can't. And I know it's early, and I know they can figure it out. They don't have a fucking head coach. They don't have Ellis. Ellis is dead. I'm
Ellis
convinced of it.
doesn't exist. I'm pretty
He's
sure.
fucking dead.
I tweeted that the other day. I was like, please prove to me that this man exists.
They men in blacked our eyeballs. They hit us with a little fucking thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't have our Gannon sunglasses on, so we're all fucking. We forget who he is. It's
Yeah.
just it's so weird, and that's why hockey's annoying. Is he? What the fuck's his deal? You know what I mean? Just release it. You're not surprising anyone. He's been out for 3-4 weeks.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. It's really fucking annoying.
There should be like a mandate that says after 4 weeks of not playing, you have to fucking disclose what his injury is.
You're right. There should be.
I mean,
Like, does he have a broken fucking leg? Does he have a torn ACL? Does he not? Is he missing? Is he missing his fucking Achilles tendon? Like what? Like, what is happening?
he got he got captured and they popped all his toenails off, so that's why he can't fucking walk. No,
Is he like with ISIS right now? Like, what's going on here?
they can't. Listen, I understand a week or two. That's a competitive advantage. But after 3 weeks, I mean, now it's just like, what the fuck? You owe it to
Right.
everyone in the world to let us know what is going on.
So the Flyers sit at 13-13. They're 32 points. They're 9 points back from the Penguins, who would hold basically the last playoff spot. But that's not technically true because Boston has 36 points in the Atlantic, and they're technically technically the Flyers are 2 wins out of a playoff spot. So
Okay.
it's not dire. So I guess they're in the position where they can ride it and keep Giroux and try to make the playoffs, or
And they might because
I know.
they're loyal to Giroux.
I know, and I think he's earned it. I know we had
Yeah.
Joe on here a couple weeks ago. He completely does not agree, and like I said to Joe, there are a lot of people in Philly that agree with that. They think that Giroux is time to go. People have been trying to trade Giroux for fucking 5 years, I feel like. Maybe more than that.
Forever.
Right. So, like that is what it is. But my point is the Flyers are still in the hunt. And it's way too early, dude, to give up on that. It's January. They're 4 points out of the playoffs. It's January. Like, am I missing something here?
I'm out.
No.
Pull the plug.
Stop it.
They're losing 2-1.
Oh, they scored? They were losing 2-0.
Yeah, Cam Atkinson. And that's the other thing, like,
dude's solid, man.
so and this guy on Twitter, Charlie O'Connor. If you don't follow him, you should follow him. He's the athletic insider for the Flyers. He's very good, very detailed, and he's like a lot of people. He's like, oh, like the Voracek for Atkinson, the ghost for Ristolainen. He was like on paper, like those trades worked out, and that's not the problem. It's like everything else around the Flyers. Like the GM made some good moves. It's just everything else doesn't make fucking sense, right?
Right.
So, and that's what kind of the problem is. I mean, and again, COVID's a big part of all of this, right? Giroux's out tonight, and so is whoever else. Oh, Prove. So, I don't know, man. I just know that, like, looking at that division, I know and Boston's underperforming. They'll figure it the fuck out. Boston's an elite, hockey team. So, I don't know, man. But what I've seen from the Flyers is just like it's pitiful. It seriously is.
I feel like every time I watch the Flyers, like every time I actually sit down, like, all right, I talk to my wife. I'm like, tonight's a Flyers night. We're gonna watch this, and I'm like, I start watching. I'm like disinterested by the end of the first period, and
That's
I'm
what I
like,
mean. They're just
this
not.
is
They're terrible on penalty kill. They're terrible on fucking power play. It's just the same old motherfucking song. And
yeah.
I'm at a point now with all of the sports where I'm done trying to manifest my caring when they're like this. You can't you can't I'm gonna go back. You can't lose to the Hawks. You can't have this Ben Simmons thing. You can't lose 10 straight games in hockey and think that you're gonna keep the fan base coming, you know?
But
You just
yet they
can't.
do.
But
Yet they do though.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean I get it. But like
Well, that's the problem though. Like, so, man, the Flyers are probably no. The Sixers are the same way. So, like, people go to the Sixers games and go to the Flyers games because, like, especially the Flyers. The Flyers have a niche fan base.
mhm.
The Flyers have a fan base where it's like, well, we like the Flyers, and if you don't like the Flyers, like, you're not in our club. And it's a very weird club thing. And so the fly so like in order in order to you know let the ownership see that no one's showing up at the games because we don't believe in the team, it's never going to happen. It's the same. It's like it would be like trying to do that with the Eagles. It won't happen.
Well, and you have to remember Comcast owns the Flyers.
I
They
know.
don't give a fuck. They're worth billions of dollars.
Right. Well, that would be that would be something that could possibly help. Like, fucking sell the fucking team.
Yeah.
Sell it to a guy or a woman who wants to fucking make
Kate Smith.
changes. Kate Smith.
She's dead. And she's
She's dead.
racist.
Rest her racist soul. She's racist.
Why
No, I remember all that came out. Yeah.
why
Listen,
did Ed Snyder will the team to Comcast?
yeah, who does that? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, you hear that, Ed Snyder? Why'd you do that, idiot?
I'm just saying, like, of all, like, there's nobody. There's nobody.
I would have given them my $5,000 I have saved, and I could have owned the Flyers.
Hey, how about this? How about all this? How about the Flyers are owned by the season ticket holders, like the Packers?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I think it's time. I think it's time for Comcast to, like, let it go,
Yeah.
let it go.
Comcast, they're the fucking monopoly. I don't care what anyone says. They're a they're a monopoly. They don't give a shit. They just don't. And I've said this before, and I'll say it every week, and I don't care if you're sick of it. They're like, okay, well, how can we distract everyone? Whoa, introduce Gritty. And like, listen, man, I
mean,
love
everybody
Gritty,
likes Gritty. Yeah,
get
we
it.
love Gritty.
but the wool is not over my eyes anymore with Gritty. All right, that big furry bitch. It's just,
Well,
I don't know, man.
the Flyers are tough. The Sixers are tough. And thank God we have the Eagles actually achieving something in this fucking town, because it would just be doom and gloom. It's like 24 degrees outside. It's going to be fucking icy tomorrow. Like we're getting into we all have fucking coronavirus. Like, we're in that time of the year where it's like we need something, and thank fucking God if you believe in God. If not, then thank fucking whatever. Like, like, we have the Eagles, man. We have the
something.
Eagles. We hold it really close and really tight.
And we might
won't let it go.
And the Phillies might be making strides, but they're still a couple years away from big boom noise. You know what I mean? And I don't mean I don't mean 10 years. I don't even mean 5 years, but they're at least 2 or 3 away.
Well, and we need to see what happens with this lockout. Like, once the lockout loosens up, they can actually go. They're going to sign. They're going to hit something in the free agency. Like, they're going to hit something.
Yeah,
We just don't know what. But yeah, you're right. If there was any way to make people hate baseball more, this is it. You have ballparks around the country fucking empty. It's sad, dude. It's sad.
It's all money driven.
Well, that's a sport where people don't go if the team sucks because there's so many fucking games.
It's too many games.
It's a lot of games, and they're long. Some of them. I love baseball though, so that's one I'll hang in on because like a thing. I don't know. It's almost like soothing to have a baseball game on
Hey man,
in the background because it's like slower action, so like you don't have to pay super close attention, but like it's like
once you
I
hear
don't
the
know.
crack of the bat, you got to look up from whatever you're doing.
Yeah, or like you have like you hear like the buzz of the crowd and
Yeah.
like I actually like John Kruk and McCarthy on
Yeah.
TV. Like they're funny as
Yo,
shit.
McCarthy is
So
fat.
he got big, bro.
Again?
I don't know what happened there.
And I'll tell you what happened. All them free cheesesteaks.
Well, they hit that booth with so much fucking food.
Yeah, they're like today is National Cheesesteak Day. Here's 60 of them. and Todd's down there licking his fucking lips and shit, like salivating.
Oh fuck. But
Pig.
listen, I can't wait. I can't wait for the Phils to come back, but they need to get this lockout fucking settled because they got to figure out free agency, man. Like there's a lot of fucking shit hanging out there.
Well, and that's the
lot.
whole thing is that like most of that would be over by now, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah. So
Yeah, thanks.
we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But so hey, let's put a bow on this podcast.
Let's do it.
We're gonna move over to the gambling section of the podcast, and ironically, I should have probably told you this a while ago, but Kenny's did you say cocklock this weekend on the fly on the NHL pick?
Yeah.
So Kenny's cocklock of the weekend was actually the Ducks money line tonight against the Flyers. Ducks money line minus 150.
Hey, in my defense, the NHL or the NFL slate is doo-doo cheeks this week.
It is. It's definitely tough sledding to this weekend in the NFL.
And I had that pick in at like 8:45, so no one be saying shit to me. All right.
Yeah, he did. He gave it to me, but he's liking the Ducks. Hey, you could probably still bet them live, but probably right now it's probably like minus 300 or something because
I'll tell you what
they
it
have
is,
the
'cause I'm
lead.
gonna put more money on it.
They have the lead after the first period, 2-1 over the Flyers. So that was Kenny's cocklock this weekend. But last weekend, we should talk about the records. So Kenny had a rough week. After a couple really strong weeks. Last week Kenny went 1-4. Kenny's win was the Eagles. He squeaked that one out by half a point.
What up?
He lost Tampa Bay, who almost lost outright.
Dude, I told you I put together that can't lose money line parlay.
Yeah.
And I had all the favorites in there. I got that bitch to plus 200. And
that's pretty good.
I know. And I was like, oh, you motherfuckers. Tampa Bay's going to do it to me, aren't they? It's the Browns and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited when they won that game.
So yeah, they squeaked out on the money line, but Tampa Bay definitely did not cover that 13.
Nah.
And then the Rams minus 4, that was also a loss. They barely won. And then
you know why they won, right?
Because they played the Ravens.
Because their trade deadline pieces fucking showed up. OBJ,
that's a good point. Yeah.
OBJ makes that game lead change, and then Von Miller game winning sack.
Yep.
And that's why the Rams scare me just a little bit. I don't think they're that good, but they scare me.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? Stafford throws too many interceptions.
Yeah,
man.
what is it's like he's like the Lions come back to his like fucking brain cells.
I don't know, but it's like one a week and there's a pick 6. Like
you could bet on it.
Yeah, almost. Now if someone bets on it this week, it's going to be a fucking stone L. But you also had Cincinnati plus 13.5. That was a loss. Michigan plus 7.5. That was a loss. So that takes your record on the season to 21-24, 47%. You just dipped under the 50% mark. So coming back this weekend, Kenny likes the Ducks money line tonight. That's his cock lock. Yeah,
quack, quack.
Whatever. Quack, 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 quack. In the NFL, Kenny is on the Chargers. I think that the Chargers are in a win-and-in situation. Sunday Night Football should absolutely be fucking electric. Funny though about Sunday Night Football. If the Colts lose again against the Jaguars. I say again because I think they in Jacksonville like the last 6 times they've been there or something. It's
Yes,
fucking crazy.
since
Um,
2014.
okay, the Colts are favored this weekend by 16 points.
16.
Yeah.
Ugh.
If somehow the Jacksonville Jaguars managed to beat them, which I don't think it's going to happen, but if it did, if the Raiders and if that happened, if they lost, if the Raiders and Chargers game ended in a tie, both the Raiders and the Chargers would make the playoffs. So Kenny has a conspiracy theory that if the Jaguars somehow beat the Colts, that the Raiders and Chargers will force the game to end in a tie.
Knee. T.
No fucking way that happens, but
I would fucking. Oh,
that's a wild scenario. So Chargers, Kenny likes the Chargers on Sunday Night Football -3 over the Raiders. And he also likes the Rams -3.5 at home against the Niners. The Rams are playing to lock up the division. So
the
if
second
they
seed.
win and the 2 seed, so they're trying to get the 2 seed. So if they win that game, they lock up the division. And I don't know if they win the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay, but I'm not going to look into that right now.
Not worth the energy. But all I do know
No,
is that like you don't want to go from 2 to 3 to go into 5, right? You want to avoid that at all costs.
correct. So Kenny's picks again: Ducks money line, Chargers -3, Rams -3.5, and Alabama on Monday night +2.5, and a 50 spot with me.
Yeah.
So me last week, I ended up going 3-2. My teaser once again hit. I had Buffalo -7.5 and Green Bay +0.5. That was a win. I had the Browns -3. That was a fucking horrendous loss. They looked like dog shit against the Steelers. I had the Bengals +5.5. They won the game outright, which I mentioned could happen. It did. Bama -13.5. I played that because of the number. I liked that it was under 14. That was a win. And I had Michigan +7.5, which is a horrendous, awful pick. And Michigan really looked like complete dog shit.
Butt
So that was
cheeks.
an L. That was an L. So that took my record to 32-18 on a season at a cool 64%, which is nice and profitable.
Bud
for those
Dupree
of
got
you
arrested.
playing along at home. Why?
Assault in front of a Walgreens.
Was he trying to get a COVID test?
He's probably needed Plan B.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Ugh.
Wild. All right. So my picks through the weekend. I like the Seattle Seahawks +6.5 on the road in Arizona. Arizona fucking. I'm not going to expand on this. I don't think Arizona's great, and I don't think it matters that they like need or want to win this game. Seattle is playing well. They actually looked really good yesterday or this weekend, and I think that they're going to play hard all the way out, even though it doesn't really matter for them. So I like the Seahawks +6.5 in Arizona. My next pick is also in the NFL. I like the Carolina Panthers on the road in Tampa Bay +8. I think that Tampa Bay is going to win that game, but I think that the Panthers are going to keep it close for really no reason at all. But I just have a feeling that game is going to be close. The line is at 8. We have some games that are double digit, double touchdown, 2 touchdown spreads, and the fact that game is under 10 kind of tells me something. So I'm going Carolina there. And I like the Niners going against Kenny again. I like the Niners on the road against the Rams +3.5. Niners
Win and get in.
+3.5. Winning in. So and then for my national title game, I like Georgia -2.5. Like I said in the segment, I don't see Georgia losing two games to Bama. I just don't, and I think that they're going to come, and I think they're going to bring their A game. I think they're going to fucking whoop up on some Bama butt.
Wrong.
So Guys, thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We had some people on the live stream. Thanks a lot for hitting that up. It's pretty cool. Keep on checking out the Twitter. Please like and share the podcast. We're trying to grow the audience as much as we can, but we need you guys to like and share and all that type of stuff in order for people to find it. So
Do it.
You can follow us on Twitter at PHL Sports Pain. I'm at Dave Fry 04. Kenny as at Sky Chano 127. And yeah, man, we're excited to keep this podcast going. We're excited to see how the Eagles, how stuff pans out for the Eagles in the playoffs.
Super Bowl.
It's
Super
amazing
Bowl.
that this team is going to the fucking playoffs. It's amazing. Enjoy the ride. Don't give a shit about week 18. Do not let this week change your opinion on this team.
Wouldn't you rather though, like I just want to win though, because I want the record to be a little crisper. You know what I mean?
Don't let this weekend change your opinion on this team.
10-7 is so much better than 9-8.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just saying. Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby. Playoffs. Here we go.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
Later.
Peace.